it's sweet. Oh, and vanilla.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to week 6 of fantasy football. Oh, it is so much nicer to win. I'm excited. I'm not excited. I'm relieved, I guess. Going 0-4, a little stressful. Very stressful if I hit 0-5. It's not impossible. We've seen someone in our league actually, who's come back and down from 0 to 5, come back, playoffs, championship, and then win it. So, I mean, not completely stressing, but definitely stressful. But I am relieved. I got my first win. I think I scored the most points this week. Super happy. But still a lot of work to do. Lots of work to do. Not happy with 1-4 still. Happy to get a win. But on to the next week. Eddie's next. Next on my list. Good luck to you, Eddie, this week. A lot of great matchups this week. I was super impressed with how that planned out. So many close games. We've got Eric, who barely lost to Dre. We've got Austin, last game win off of Eddie. Poor Eddie. I think he's got the most points against this year. Not having the greatest schedule, and then we've got who else? We had Nate win over Luke, and then I won over Jeff. I was down, and then Austin gave me some kind of jinx. Put that 0-5 with the eyeball emoji, and then from there, I was just all I could think of because there was a second slate of games that started, and I think Dallas Goedert got the first touchdown, and I was like, oh, might be trouble. And then boom, Jamar Chase, boom, he gets touchdown. Oh, might be trouble. Cooper Kupp getting target after target. Uh-oh, might be trouble. Jamar Chase gets another touchdown. Oh, might be trouble. Jamar Chase gets a third touchdown, and the Jets score a touchdown for my defense. I know it's trouble. So super pumped about that. It was actually nice watching some football. I'm a very sore loser, so I wasn't pissy this time. Amanda can attest to that, that I'm a sore loser. Don't like to lose.
Biggest sore loser ever.
Yes, but
if you couldn't tell, Austin.
Yes, but super happy. And then Whitney pulling off the win against Dre, which brings me to wow. Now that's the biggest thing. This is why I'm not for vetoing any kind of trades, is because that is a huge misconception. Is I think we put value on people's names, and you can use this as your advantage if you want to trade someone away, or if you can use this to your advantage if you're trying to trade for someone. Is I think we put certain names on a certain platform, and at first I was like, man, Jeff, you're doing a bad move again. You're going to pull another Saquon Barkley type trade where you're giving up Davante Adams to a powerhouse team in our league, and you're just going to make his team that much better. Well, joke might be on the rest of us. I mean, I don't know what everyone else was thinking, but I know what I was thinking. I was like, Davante Adams, that side of the trade definitely won. But now A-Chain is possibly going to the IR. Definitely missing a few weeks, so Mostert's going to be a workhorse back there. Mostert actually scored more points than Davante Adams, and if you kind of look at the point difference, that was just enough points that Dre needed to win this week. So that trade actually backfired on Dre. It didn't help Jeff out, but if Jeff's defense played out a little bit better, it definitely would have helped him if he would have beat me or if I wouldn't have scored as many points. So that's why I'm always against vetoing trades, is because you never know. And I think we put people's names on a platform and they don't always pan out. They don't always what's another good, I can't think of another good example off the top of my head, but yeah. Davante Adams, he has a struggling quarterback and a not very good offense. And so I'm not sure if that's the side that won. I don't know. It's too early to tell. It's only the first week after trade, but don't put too much value on someone's name just because they're a big name. I mean, I know Dre was considering trading Austin Eckler. He's a big name. He could probably get a lot out of Austin Eckler if he trades him away, and then Austin Eckler doesn't perform. I mean, he could end up winning a trade just based off of someone's name value. But in the same time, you can use that to your advantage. If you have someone that's struggling, even Jamar Chase, he had one good game, but I want to see consistency. I mean, I could try to trade him away, and I'm pretty sure I could get a good amount out of him. Justin Jefferson, he's on IR and might even miss more than 4 weeks. I'm sure Austin could trade him away. Now, that's not to say just go ahead and accept anything. I'm going to tell you straight up. If Austin sends you a trade, and this is my one rant about Austin this week. If Austin sends you a trade and you're like, oh, I think I might accept that, wait a good 20 minutes, consult with any rational human being, and if they agree that it's a good trade, then go for a trade. But I would like to see this league make a little bit more trades. We'll see. I don't think anything should be forced, but I would like to see more trades. It's always exciting when there's trades that go on. But yeah, what a great week. What a crazy week. Not so great for injuries. So we've got Travis Kelce. He's not a huge injury, but something definitely to monitor. Whitney, something to monitor. He did leave for a partial portion of the game because of an ankle injury. He did come back. He scored a touchdown after. What a dog. He did score a touchdown after, but now that's a few days after that ankle might be swelling up. We don't know if he's got an early week, very short week with playing Thursday night. Definitely monitor that. Definitely look at the waiver wire is my suggestion. There's a few injuries. There's a lot of injuries. Now, an injury, I think, Whitney, I'm talking to you. Injury that I think is something to monitor is Nico Collins. I believe he is injured, and with that, I think Dalton Schultz is definitely a good pickup to go after, especially if you have a tight end like Travis Kelce who may not play on Thursday night. So Whitney, think about that when you're hitting your waiver wire. I'm going to try to get this out. I should have got this out earlier. I apologize. I was lazy. Been slacking a little bit, but here we are. So, Whitney, if it's too late, definitely look at the tight ends. Look at some waiver wire pickups or just some pickups in general. Something to monitor. Other injuries, huge injuries. Justin Jefferson. Oof. That's going to be tough. Luckily, I think, Austin, you're 3-2. So worst case scenario, you lose all 4 games, 3-6. That's not something to overcome. That's not something that you can't overcome. Even if you win 1 out of 4 games, 4 and 5. Yeah, I can math, right? 4 and 5. So that's not a bad. I mean, it sucks, but you're on the positive side of wins, so definitely good for you. Who else? Luke, you didn't get any injuries this week, so congratulations. Another big blow. Dre, sorry. You got A-Chain, or however you pronounce his name, is injured. I've heard rumors he might go on IR. Now, these are very untrustworthy sources, a.k.a. Austin. Another dig at Austin. Sorry, I just can't help it. But I think I heard it somewhere else, but it was very, very rumor-esque. So don't put too much into it. But he's definitely missing a few games. So that's going to be interesting backfield to monitor. They're such a powerhouse. You could pretty much plug any running back there, and I'm pretty sure they would produce as long as they're somewhat quick. And then who else? Jonathan Taylor was back this week. Eddie, congratulations. But it's a little scary. I don't think there was not very many people that started Zach Moss, and I would put money on it. There's still not going to be very many people that are going to start Zach Moss this next week, even though he went off. Even though Jonathan Taylor's completely healthy, I think he missed all of training camp. He's been missing some practices. So, I mean, Eddie, take it with what you want. I am going against you, but I wouldn't be the most confident starting Jonathan Taylor. Now, this might be reverse psychology. I don't know. Well, I don't know. Maybe some mind games. I don't know. But honestly, I'm not. If I had Jonathan Taylor, I wouldn't feel 100% confident playing him this week. Not until he can prove that he's the bell cow. And even then, Zach Moss has done so well. How can they not give him some kind of timeshare? So we'll see how that progresses. Who else? I should have been a little bit more prepared. I don't remember who else is injured. Oh, Anthony Richardson. That is tough. That is a tough. But Eddie, you got a good backup in Brock Purdy. He's been balling out. Now, I think that'll be tough versus some good matchups for CMC because they're just going to run the rock. They're just going to hand it off. And then when they get up, they're just going to, I believe, just hand it off constantly. I think in some of these tougher matchups, Brock Purdy would be really good where he does have to throw it because CMC, no matter how good he is, there's just some defenses. If they go against Philadelphia Eagles, I don't know if they are playing them this year, but if they are playing them, Brock Purdy, I think, would be a smash play against them because their run defense is so much better than their passing defense. But and then not injury related, but just so much happened this week. It's crazy. So I'm just talking about this week. I'm talking about all the news, everything that's happened. And I'll do another episode where I'm going to do some power rankings. I'm trying to analyze a little bit more and give you my takes in a little bit more depth. I'll try to do that Thursday before the game starts. But yeah, I'm just going over all the different. I feel like so much happened. The Bengals look like they're back. Super stoked about that, but it was against Arizona, so I'm not too excited. I want to see it consistent before I get too excited, and hopefully, there's some interesting matchups coming up this next week. Let me take a look here. I did get my platinum status back. I was struggling, but I'm in a couple leagues on Yahoo. I'm in two different leagues. One's a work league and one's this league. I was knocked down to gold because I was losing so much, but I'm back up to platinum. So I'm going to throw that little humble brag in there. Let's see here. We've got, I think the biggest matchup this week. We've got Dre and we've got Nate. Nate, I did like your team, but I don't know. This is the crazy thing about fantasy football. So much happens, so much changes on a week-to-week basis that it's so hard to keep up. But this is going to be an interesting week for. We've got kind of a big battle for second. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that are 3-2. And leading that way, we've got Dre and we've got Nate on a matchup together. So that'll be, I think, the game to watch for this week. It's kind of who's kind of going to separate themselves and who's going to knock themselves back to that 500. It seems like once you get stuck in that 500 range where you same amount of wins, the same as the losses, you get always just stuck where you win one, you lose one, you lose one, you win one, and you're always in that 500 level. So I think this will be a big game on who can separate themselves. It'll be interesting to see how Austin can fare with. It looks like he's got a lot of running back weapons, but not too many excuse me, not too many wide receiver options, especially with Jay Jetta out. And this is another interesting thing. I have all these things to talk about, but I always get a little too distracted. There's a few things I want to cover. We've got now. This is more NFL related, not so much fantasy football related. And one thing that I'm kind of watching as the weeks go by, and I don't think it's all his fault, but if you look at Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, I mean, there's a lot of people that knock on the Cowboys, and I don't like the Cowboys. I hate the whole fan base. We them boys, they always hooting and hollering about their championships. They're as bad as I think San Francisco, where they're still riding off of the 90s and those teams being great, but they really haven't been that good since. I mean, they've got some really good teams, but not comparatively so to like a Super Bowl championship caliber team. But if you look at Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, and like I said, I don't think this is all Lamar Jackson, but look at the teams they beat. They beat a CJ Stroud, rookie, first game in the NFL, Texans. They barely beat a struggling Bengals where obviously Joe Burrow was not healthy and that whole team was not healthy. And then week 3, they lose to a backup Gardner Minshew in the Colts. They win against also another first game played Browns where they have the backup quarterback. Like I said, first game playing. And so the guy's obviously not going to do good. He only scores 3 points. They win against him. And then they lose to the Steelers. Kenny Pickett led Steelers. They are 3-2 against terrible matchups. They should be 5-0. And they should have won those games all handedly, but they haven't. So that'll be interesting to see. That's something I'm monitoring to see if Austin's team is going to keep on. If his quarterback, I mean, fantasy-wise, it doesn't always come down to wins and losses, but it'll be interesting once they actually go against a good all-around offense. I think Tennessee's actually kind of getting it together where they're Hopkins is getting more familiar with Tannehill. And when Treylon Burks comes back, I think that's going to be good. They're going to be even a little bit better on their passing game. And Derrick Henry, he's old, but he's still a big body back with Spears in the backfield. Those are 2 solid running backs. So I think it'll be interesting to watch that game this next week. But yeah, Austin, let's see. I want to see how your team does. You've got some good backups, wide receiver wise. Good job, Eric, for dropping Christian Kirk and just handing that to Austin. So good job, Eric, on that one. If not, he probably would have had to play Jerry Jeudy. So if Christian Kirk goes off and Austin gets the win, that is your fault, Eric. But you have some decent backup wide receivers, but we'll see how your team fares with that matchup on Lamar Jackson. Especially, they're good against the running defense, and Lamar gets all of his points off the run. So we'll see how that fares out. We'll see. Your team has been going off, so we'll see if they can sustain that. I think they've sustained it for 3 weeks, but can they do it for 4? We'll see. Let's see. We've got Dre, I think, lost 2 weeks in a row. Tough. This was a tough week for you. Jordan Love, saw that you already dropped him. Nothing to do with him. That was a tough loss to watch. Like I said, if you would have kept Mostert, it really depends because they're 2 different positions, but Mostert definitely scored more points than Davante Adams, and that point differential would have given you the win. I mean, it does depend on who you would have started based off the position, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Whitney squeaked by a win. Good job, Whitney. Because Dre, his quarterback, didn't do well. Yeah, Whitney, you need to find a little bit more depth in your team, and with Travis Kelce possibly being out, it's going to be a tough week for you, I think. Who else? We've got. So we'll see how Whitney and Austin go against each other, how that fares out. And then Mr. Jeff, we'll see. I think Jordan Addison, absolute big bump. Michael Thomas has been more involved. Bijan Robinson's always good, and Raheem Mostert with him now kind of overtaking the role, and Darren Waller kind of getting more implemented. Mike Evans back. Your only concern is quarterback, but Kirk Cousins, I think, will keep it steady. And I see Eric right now has Justin Fields in his lineup. I see he's going to ride with Justin Fields over Jalen Hurts. That's interesting. We'll see if that stays there. That's actually very interesting. That's the first time I've seen that. But things could kind of fall in line. I'm calling it now. Upset of the week. We've got Jeff over Eric. That's my upset of the week. Eric actually has 100 points projected, but I don't see Kyron Williams producing too much. I mean, they did go against a really good running defense, but maybe in a positive matchup, but I don't see him scoring too much more now that Cooper Kupp is back. If you noticed, once Cooper Kupp got back, I haven't even talked about Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is back. I'm so excited. First game back, and he's already over 100 yards. Super happy about that. I'm super stoked. As long as Matt Stafford can stay healthy, I think I've got a good number one wide receiver with him and Jamar Chase. So I'm super happy about that. But anyway, sorry, back to Eric. You got a solid team, I think. Solid. Yes, Stephon Diggs. That one's actually pretty interesting. Although he's been producing, he's not been happy. So I think that dynamic in that locker room could be kind of his downfall. And that's one thing I don't like about Buffalo Bill players is towards the end of the year when you want them to be fantasy relevant, they're playing in snow games. If they're not playing in Buffalo, they're playing in New England, which is always snowing. And so Stephon Diggs always kind of scares me. And now he has attitude problems. Oof, that'll be interesting. But I'm calling it now. Jeff's upsetting Eric this week. That's what I'm going to call. I think Jeff has everything kind of lining up perfectly for him. And we'll see. We'll see. I could be wrong. But that's very interesting that you're starting Fields over Hurts. I think that could come back and bite you in the butt. That's my personal opinion. I got nothing to back that up. And then I think almost upset of the week. I've got Dre almost upsetting Luke. Now you've got some people coming back. I think your only downfall is your quarterback. You should have stuck with Justin Fields, but you got Jared Goff. He's not very good on the road fantasy-wise, so I think that will be your downfall. But Waddle's getting more implemented. A.J. Brown's always a stud. Barkley's coming back. Maybe that's what's going to hurt you is also A-Chain. And then where is Aaron Jones? I thought you had Aaron Jones, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something. I swear you had Aaron Jones. Who is Aaron Jones? Hold on, people. I gotta look this up because it's gonna bother me if I don't look this up. The Dre, yeah. What the hell? Oh, they're on a bye week, so it doesn't even matter. But you got Barkley coming back, and Luke's team is kind of decimated off of injuries. He's got Calvin Ridley looked a little bit better, but I don't know. And he's got Keenan Allen coming back. I think he's got a good team, but he doesn't have that second. He doesn't have that second wide receiver. I'm not a big fan of Drake London. Although Pittman, I believe it will be a good stud with Minshew. Go Minshew. But that's my almost upset of the week. And then who else? What other matchups do we have? And then Eddie and I. It'll be interesting. I'm going to see if my team can stay consistent. It'll be tough because for Eddie if he loses this week, because I think he's had quite a few good weeks, just not very favorable matchups. He's got the most points. No, Jeff has the most points against, but Eddie is up there. Eddie, I think you have a really solid team. If I could beat you, you'll be 2-4, which will be very surprising. Considering I think you have one of the better teams. I think you just have been unlucky with Anthony Richardson. I think if you would have had him healthy for at least a half, you would have beat Austin, but sometimes that's just fantasy. But yeah, super exciting week this last week. I feel like it was really eventful. Waivers are coming up. A lot of waiver potential out there. We've got James Conner also on the injured reserve. That's rough. Rip Eric on that one. And that will be interesting because they do have that one running back, but can he fare well and do well in that offense? Or is James Conner, was he the reason why they were doing so well? Because James Conner is a stud, and he's just a giant dude that can move. So we'll see if this other running back that doesn't have as much experience can do as well. But yeah, I'll post another video Thursday probably. I'll try to go through my power rankings while I'm at work tomorrow, see who I'm gonna try to be as accurate as possible. I'm gonna try to analyze a little bit better. I'm starting from scratch. I'm not going off my previous list. I'm gonna start from scratch, and these are just power rankings. They change so much. Shit changes every single week. So yeah, stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Also, if you didn't see, I did post a video. I was a little bit quiet about it, but I did post a video admitting that Austin's team is better than I thought. Kind of an apology video. A little harsh. I've been a little bit harsh on Austin's team, but his team's come back. I think he's won 3 in a row, so his team is hot. Some things you say, you just kind of speak and words come out and you don't think about what you just said. I've made this weird. All right. Thanks for watching, guys.